Today's episode is brought to you by our partners who make this ESPN playoff week possible. Huge thanks to Lairston Real Estate, delivering top-tier service in Oregon, Idaho, and Arizona. Shout out to Moon Real Estate Group, a team that's built on Aggie Pride excellence and supporting UC Davis football throughout the year. And we're proud to be backed by BPM&J, trusted attorneys at law who invest in the program and push this team forward. We appreciate all three for stepping up in a historic week for Aggie football. All right, it's ESPN week here for Aggie Pride, a UC Davis football podcast. It's Tuesday, and we are getting to spend some time with one of the quarterback legends in UC Davis football history, fresh off a Grey Cup championship with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. It's none other than Jake Maier. How you doing, Jake?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me. Long time no see, but back at it. Glad we're back doing this.
Yeah, last time you were in like an airport traveling from somewhere,
Yes.
and we tried to hook up a couple weeks ago, and you were in an
Yeah,
airport then too. So just give us an update, dude. Like, how's life been? Tell us about the season and where your recent travels have you.
What's up, guys? Jason Moon here with Keller Williams Realty East Bay. Hey, let's go Aggies. Let's beat the Rams. And if you have any residential real estate needs from the East Bay to Greater Sacramento, I'd love to be a resource for you on and off the field. Go Aggies.
Yeah, it's been crazy. So I would say the last 6 to 8 months have been like once in a lifetime, unforgettable experiences. I was fortunate enough to be on a really good football team this year in a new city with a new coaches and new teammates. And we were fortunate enough to be the number 1 seed all year in the CFL, win the West Division, and then we ultimately got to go to the Grey Cup, and we won that thing too. So it was again pretty surreal, unforgettable experience, a lot of fun. Just really cool to be on a winning team. You know, it's been a couple years since I've been able to say that, unfortunately, but this last year really made that worth it. Got to play a little bit, but again, just being a part of something special is something you never take for granted. Kind of felt like, honestly, my Davis days, being around good coaches and good players, and pretty unforgettable, man. But that I ended up coming home about a week and a half ago to my house here in Arizona. Got to see my little girl again. Got to see my wife. It was a weird year. Like, we were separated a little bit. Just me being up there and Amanda going through her nursing program, and it was hard to keep the family together this year. But I was able to come back after not seeing them for a couple months, and I think the experience made it all worth it. And it's just been really fun to be back out here again, just soaking it all up.
Hey, Aggie Nation, Bob and Jan Larson here. We're so excited for you all.
Playoffs under the lights in the national spotlight. Show off your Aggie pride. We will be cheering for you all the way.
Get the win.
Let's go, Ags.
Nice. You hitting the links a little bit, I see. You doing the quarterback coaching. Like, what is the off season look like for you this go around?
Yeah, it's pretty similar. The quarterback training stuff is up and rolling again. It's a lot of fun for me. There's a handful of kids that kind of surround my community that I get to work with, and it's been a lot of fun. One quarterback that I trained, he goes to Canyon View High School. He's actually playing in the 5A, I want to say, either 5A or 6A state championship game at Arizona State. So I actually have to get my tickets pretty soon to go to that one. So that's fun for me to go check out and be a part of. Yeah, in terms of golf, I'm either training quarterbacks or spending time with my family. So the golf is a little bit on the back burner. Doesn't mean I won't play at some point this off season, but I'll definitely try to carve out some time for that. But yeah, it's just been trying to mentor and develop quarterbacks and be a dad. That I would say the 6 months prior to that has just been focusing on being a quarterback and playing quarterback. But once the season ends, it really transitions into those two things, and my life's pretty simple when it comes to that.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because we had Miles Hastings on, who, of course, you remember at the
Mhm.
beginning of the year, and it was fun to get like a more candid Miles. Like, okay, now I'm
Mhm.
gonna like breathe a little bit on this podcast and spread my wings,
Mhm.
which was cool. It's been cool getting to know him. But he's doing, some of that quarterback coaching in addition to his full time gig down in the OC. But
Mhm.
quarterback play is always kind of what's on my mind when I think of you. And what a transition, man! Like we go from a 6 year guy who'd gotten a ton of reps, had like a really interesting career, ended on a really high note for his
Mhm.
senior year. And then it's this competition with all these talented guys. And I don't know how familiar you are with the entire room, but I want to say there's something like 3 or 4 3-star quarterbacks, just a lot of talented dudes. And so whoever was going to win that job was going to be talented. It came down to, of course, Grant Harper, the Campo kid near me, and then also Caden Pinnick, who won it out. They both have played, but
Mhm.
Caden has been said. Would just love your thoughts on the team overall of what you've gotten to watch. This will be our fourth nationally televised game, but there's obviously been 3 others, and anything that you've been able
Mhm.
to check social or online, and just your thoughts overall of this Aggie iteration.
Hi, this is Scott Judson from Bold, Polisner, Maddow, Nelson, and Judson. As the team prepares for Rhode Island, we want to remind you, get your estate planning done, get your trust, your wills, your powers of attorney all set. You never know what's going to happen. Please feel free to reach out. If you have any estate planning questions, any civil litigation questions, or any elder law questions, we'll be happy to help you in Walnut Creek or Sacramento. But with that, we'll say,
Go Ags!
Yeah, I mean, to start with the quarterbacks, I actually it was myself, Hunter Rodriguez at the time, Brock Johnson, and Miles. We hosted Grant Harper on his initial recruiting visit. So, uh, to me, it feels like Grant's been there forever. And it was cool to actually see him play. I want to say he started the Northern Colorado game and he played pretty well and did his thing. So it's cool to
Yeah.
see him over the years and get a chance to play and be a part of winning teams. Like, pretty happy for Grant. And there's 2 incoming freshmen, I want to say, that were just getting their feet wet this year, and I was able to kind of talk to them in the off season, and try to help them out as much as I could leading up to that. But obviously, Pinnick being the guy and super athletic, super talented, uh, does things and has elements in his game that are probably some uncharted territory for Coach Plow in terms of what he's had over the years at Davis. Between me and Miles, I mean, I think we're pretty clear, like, spitting image of each other in terms of like our styles of play. And then you get Caden in there, and now it allows you to do even more, I'd say. He's such a instinctual player, throws it well on the run. Um, there's really nothing in the toolbox that he can't do. And now it's just a matter of just him building up the reps and experience over time in the system and being on the same page with coach. Those things, start to become more comfortable midway towards late in the year. And then obviously, hopefully this rolls into years to come. Um, but I'm impressed, man. I'm impressed with his talent. He's obviously a major reason why they've gotten to this point. Or he's up for the Jerry Rice Award, right, for the most outstanding
Yeah.
freshman, which is awesome. But I think to kind of um, you know finish the conversation about Pinnick, I would say, watching him play in the Idaho State game, and obviously that was a tough one for us and it didn't go our way, but I was just a huge fan of watching him go through that as a young guy. And it kind of took me back to when I was a sophomore in my first year as the quarterback at Davis. I remember having moments late in games that didn't go my way, and maybe I felt like I came up short, because I want to say that game ended on a potential game-winning drive that obviously ended in an interception for Idaho State. But I remember kind of watching that and thinking, okay, like I know the conversations that are going to be had with Coach and Pinnick and Coach Shelton and I think it was a great learning opportunity for him. And then you fast forward to last weekend's game or the weekend before against Sac State. Similar scenario, right? We're down couple scores in the fourth quarter. He has a couple great drives. He has the massive throw down the middle of the field, really with the game on the line, right? We need a touchdown to take the lead and win the game. and he drops it in there really nicely. I want to say it was to Batu, right?
Yep.
And I just think I watched that play and I watched that drive, and then I think back to the Idaho State game where it didn't go his way. So you can see like already the development and the personal experience, learning the lessons, and then executing the next opportunity he got with the game on the line. So those little things I really, really enjoy watching from guys play. And I can just kind of look back and reflect and relate to that stuff as well, just because any quarterback is going to have those moments where it's awesome. And when it's not great, the key is how you're able to learn from it and respond from it. So really awesome for that, for him to have that moment against Sac State with the season on the line. In terms of the team, I've watched a handful of games this year. I think for me, the most impressive thing about them in this group is how hard they play and just how committed they are to the culture that coaches created. The staff is creative. Coach Burke has obviously probably creative in the offseason. And watching just the fight, the mental toughness, they really do rally together, man. And I would probably say that this year's team has had to have a lot of dig deep character moments to come back and win games, or even win games, or be really competitive in games that maybe if we just base it off of pure talent, maybe we don't belong in the fight, but we did anyway because culturally we're really strong and we play really hard and we stick together. So that's been really, really cool to see. I know Coach views this team as one of his favorites, even with all the injuries and all the different things, all the adverse stuff. So that's been the theme for me this year. And I know that Coach is really excited about what's to come, because I think he's pretty enthused about this next class that's coming in. So, yeah, really, really cool. Obviously we had a big playoff game on ESPN, which I think is the first time ever, right, that we're on like that platform. And it's well-deserved, and hopefully there's plenty of eyeballs on the game to see how high quality the FCS product is. How many good players, how many of these players potentially have the opportunity to be pros one day. Hopefully that's highlighted. But most importantly, and if there's any like fans or students that watch this, I think it's really important that if you are in the area, you are at this game, because going to last year's playoff game, it was really, really cool. We had a huge win. I still think the standard needs to be raised, though, in terms of who can make it out to that game and try to sell that place out and break another record, because I think we broke one earlier in the year. Let's break another one. Why not? We're in a playoff game on live television. That's what those guys deserve. That's what Coach deserves. And I just think that if UC Davis wants to really explode the way that Coach wants to see it explode, this is a great opportunity to show up and make that happen. So looking forward to it.
Yep. Yeah, there's so much in there, man. I mean, I think you're right. Just to finish where you left off, which is the opportunity on national television, for the folks who aren't familiar with that weekend, it's conference championship weekend. And so there's only a handful of FBS games, and the last FBS game starts at 5:00 Pacific Standard. Our game starts at 7. So there's actually a real opportunity to capture a lot of the country who's staying up, who wants to continue watching football, because that's what we all do on Saturdays. And there's no other conference championship game at that time. So I think it is unique from people who are out of state or who aren't able to come to tune in and get the ratings up on that way. But like you said, there's really no reason not to come if you're in the area, because it's going to be electric. It's a good matchup. I think Rhode Island's the 9th ranked team. So top 10 matchup at Shredville. The team's humming. They had a week to get healthy. It makes me think of, your preparation. And for those who didn't catch the intro, all of these podcasts this week are exclusively sponsored by your friends at the Larison Real Estate Group, BPM&J and Scott Judson, and then also Moon Real Estate Group. And big shout out to those 3 companies stepping up to allow us the bandwidth to be able to put out this content. When you played Northern Iowa, you guys came off the bye, and then you're playing a Missouri Valley Conference team that you
Hmm.
hadn't played in your time. What was that week
Hmm.
like for you? If I take you back to it, I remember being at the game. It was real physical. I think it was like 23-13 or 23-16 type game. But
Yeah, it was
what do you
tight.
remember about the prep and that game?
Um, Gosh, looking back, I remember just having total belief in how good we were as a team. Um, and you kind of like look on at the time that side of the bracket uh, was kind of set up for us to have a collision course with Eastern Washington, who we had played earlier in the year. So we just felt like, okay, this is a really good football team that we have. We have some star players, we have some depth, we have great coaching. And I just remember thinking back, okay, we get to play at home against a team that has never seen us before, that stylistically is a lot different from us, which when you get in the playoffs, the cool thing is like you look at all these different regions of teams, and I think a lot of coaches look at, maybe the conference they're in and the type of players that are in their area or around them. And a lot of them really build their teams, obviously, to win conference games. Hey, we need this, or we need more size, or, hey, we need speed. We want them to win the Big Sky. We need good quarterback play, and we need to, have great offensive line play, whatever it is, right? I think stylistically, each region on the map in the FCS, has different theories for how they build their teams. And I just remember thinking, okay, we are a tempo, fast, uh, throw the ball around, uh, you know, really efficient offense. Like that was what our calling card was. And the team that we played, I'm not sure if they saw offense quite like that. So we felt like, hey, we have a little bit of an edge here. But they were really good, and obviously they were tough because their defensive line was awesome, and they were a big, physical, hard tackling football team. So I just remember like thinking back saying, hey, this stylistically we're so different, but they haven't seen us and they have to come to us. And I think it's going to be very similar in this matchup because you have a team that's coming from literally across the country, changing time zones, seeing different brands of offense, that they've had to, overcome throughout their season. So it's interesting. Like, and I think it obviously favors the home team. And I always tend to believe it favors Coach Plow and his system and the way that the way he has those guys playing ball right now. So should be exciting. It was obviously exciting for us, and I just remember thinking like, okay, we get to play at home, and then we get to go to Eastern, which obviously we know the outcome of that, but our side of the bracket kind of lined up to where home game, go to Eastern and try to make it happen, and then I think if we won that game, we got to come home again to play Maine, I want to say. So again, it would have been very similar. Like Maine comes all the way to us, and we didn't have to, mess around with the North Dakota State wild card game until the finals of my year. So we were like, man, we're going to go to the FCS national championship. Like it's going to happen. Right. So that was the vibe in our locker room and the way we thought. But yeah, these games are really fun. And I think sometimes they're made up more, like they're made to be more than what they are. I think if they play with the same um, emotional commitment and intensity and just culturally what they've been this year, if they just stick to those principles, and then if offensively, if Caden, just plays the game the right way, honors his reads, plays on time, uses his God-given athletic ability when needed, there's really nothing more that he needs to do in order to make this game happen for us. So nothing more, nothing less, man. Just stick to what got you there.
Yeah. You're taking me back to 2018, man. I remember thinking the same thing when you guys got the draw on that side of the bracket, and the Eastern loss was obviously, we don't need to go into it, but you guys were right there. And it was
Mhm.
a different draw than what this team has. This team has North Dakota State next week if we pull out the win this week. But in a dome is different. I feel like that is positive for our type of speed and the guys that we, you know, use on our offense. And you touched about on it a little bit with kind of some couple tidbits to Caden, but a question I had is someone like yourself who's been playing professionally for a lot of years now. You're coaching younger kids who are having success at the high school level. If you were to put on your Coach Plow hat for a second, or your Coach Maier hat, what would be like one or two things that you would focus on with Caden this week going into his first playoff start at home against the Rams of Rhode Island?
Yeah, you just want to make sure that, because we would talk about this all the time in our quarterback room in Saskatchewan. I was fortunate to work with a guy that I would consider a Hall of Fame quarterback in the CFL this year. He was our starter. His name's Trevor Harris, and we were kind of molded from the same batch of clay, in terms of how we saw the game and how we wanted to process it, how we wanted to prepare, and we would talk constantly about, putting my eyes in the right spot and allowing myself to take the proper footwork to keep me in rhythm and keep me on time based off of, wherever my eyes started and finished. And I've always felt like preparing that way and making sure that that those two things are at the most importance in terms of how well we were going to play. If we can live in that world, then I think that we can be really efficient, and I think that we can feel really good about the outcome no matter what. Coach talks about detaching from results and not worrying about that type of stuff. And with that being said, the way that you detach from results is to make sure that you leave no stone unturned in terms of your preparation. So, when you go out there, you should have a great mental plan on any given play call on where the ball is intended to go, and how can I stay in rhythm? How can I stay on time? How can I make sure that all the principles that I'm sure that are being harped on every day in that quarterback room, make sure that those are followed? And then obviously, again, I go back to this with him. I would say that he brings a different element to the game. So you also want to be able to tell him, hey, this is a great opportunity for you to use your legs as a weapon when necessary. For me, it might have been a little bit more err on the side of, hey, scramble to throw the ball away or scramble to get 1 or 2 yards. I mean, for him, it might be opportunities where, he honors the play, he goes through his read progressions, and if it's not there, he's not getting 2 or 3 yards. He can get 12 to 15 yards, right? Because that's what makes him special, and that's an element to the game that he brings. So, stylistically, there's things that he brings that are different, obviously, than what I ever did. But I do think big games, small games, big games, doesn't matter. Like, if your eyes are in the right place, if your feet are telling you, or your feet are allowing you to stay in rhythm, and you can honor the plays and be super dialed into your game plan and and run the offense the way it's intended to be run, then you should feel really confident, and you should be okay with the results regardless of what happens, because you're doing it the right way. So that was something that was always preached to me. It was preached in our quarterback room up in the CFL this year. So I'm just a firm believer in that stuff.
Yeah. I'm now thinking about Grant, and I'm thinking about the rest of that room. Again, some talented guys. Carter Vargas is like a big time running back who just entered the portal for us. Showed a lot of ability this year. Sam Batu, who's super talented, just announced that he's coming back next year. So it's that silly season where you might have a little bit of that. And again, you got some talented guys who aren't playing in that quarterback room. And yet, as the starter, what is the most helpful in terms of the rest of your quarterback brothers? There's the competitiveness, but I would imagine a lot of that wanes after the season starts and it becomes more of like a support group. What would you say to Grant and the rest of those guys was the most helpful for you going into a big game like this?
Man, our quarterback room was so tight when I was there. I mean, we lived together already. So, if we weren't practicing or watching film or doing, lifting, then we were, we were playing video games. We were doing intramural slow pitch. We were playing beach volleyball. Like, we were doing all those things together constantly. So, like that close bond is something that I've always tried to create in any quarterback room I'm in. I mean, I was essentially in Grant's shoes this year up in Saskatchewan, right? I wasn't the starter. I got to play a couple games, but I wasn't the starter. And I think the same support and just the belief that, someone like Brock Johnson, for example, had in me. He was my roommate. He would cook meals for me. Like, he was someone who was a great close friend to me the same way that he was for me. I remembered that, and I tried to do that with our quarterback up in Saskatchewan this year, the starter that we had out there this year. Like, I think when you're mature enough and you're emotionally mature enough, you understand your role within the team, and you have to be as good to that starting quarterback as possible. And I know Grant is that type of kid. I know he would do that for any of his teammates. So um, I think keeping the room light was always really important for me. Like, I always appreciated it when I felt like I can laugh with those guys and just take my mind off things by doing other things with them. So I think the more you can do that, the more you can just be dudes. I think that takes some pressure off the shoulders, and I think that allows you to be relaxed, be loose, so that when game day comes, you guys are all in the same fight together. So you got to be close.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. From it, I was a D lineman. From a D line perspective, like, there's moments where you're competing with one other guy for a starting job, or it's really competitive trying to get reps or whatever the case may be. And then to have that ability to compete, but then, like, also be a good teammate and be friends with the person,
Yeah.
I think is the part of the uniqueness of a team. And we see it professionally too, but I think professionally, especially, and I don't know if you see it professionally still in your, I guess, market, which is football still, but like in different industries, it can become very selfish, right? Individual
It can.
contributors and that
Yeah.
sort of thing. And so it's nice to see that the type of guys we have at Davis are able to support one another and stuff like that. You talk about Brock Johnson. That's a quick little promo for us. Brock is, of course, the Instagram king, and putting out content on the reg and helping a lot of small businesses, honestly. Speaking of professions, have success. He's going to join us at the end of the week, which is going to be pretty cool because we've talked about it a lot through this season. There's so many guys professionally doing different things. It's unique to have you on because not a lot of them are still playing ball. Whelan's doing his thing with the Packers. Land had a tough luck season with the Patriots, but they kept him on the roster, which is big time. And so, we'll see what happens with this group. But I want to close with a little bit of fun. You talk about levity. I want your score prediction for the game on Saturday. And then something that we've been doing throughout the years, just like kind of reminding people of the listeners we have, parents, players, staff, alumni, fans, and just giving you like kind of the final word with that audience in mind. Anything on your heart that you want to share to them, a pump up message, anything like that. So score and then the final word.
Okay, score. Do you have any statistics in front of you, like in terms of like what is Rhode Island, right? That's who we play.
Rhode Island,
So
they're averaging 30.
what's their calling card?
Yeah.
They play defense.
I'd say their defense is okay. I would say their offense is more so the strength. They've averaged like 32 points a game, but they are in the CAA, which conference wise is like nothing compared to the Big Sky. They also have a 5-5 loss, or a loss to 5-5 Brown of the Ivy League. That is kind of a blemish, but they won their conference, and they do have a slippery quarterback. They got some tall wideouts with some athleticism. So, yeah, they're the ninth seed. Like, they're not, they're no cupcake. They're going to be pretty good.
Well, I think we can get to 30 points. So I'm torn between, somewhere a number between 30 and 40 points. We'll say let's just go on the low end. Let's say we get to 31. And then I think that we can hold them to 21, 24 points. So let's go 31-21. Obviously we win the game. 31-21 seems pretty safe. In terms of final thoughts, to any of the viewers or listeners, parents of the team, fans, whatever, I am super grateful for Davis. There's not a season that goes by where I don't think about those guys. It means even more to me now because of who is there. When Coach Hawk and Cody Hawk and all those guys were there, meant a ton to me. And then obviously, when some of the coaches that were on the staff when I was there were transitioning, going to other places, it was hard to kind of recognize everybody that was there at certain points. And with the guy, Coach Shelton being back and Coach Plow being back, and obviously Coach Burke still being there, like it does hit home for me just because I believe in those guys a ton, and they've all three of them have made a pretty big impact on me and my development. So I'm always going to be a fan. I'm always going to support. I'm always going to make sure that I'm aware of what's going on with UC Davis football. And man, what a time for the program though. Like every year the team seems to be trending up. We have a pretty good recruiting class on the way. We're playing games on ESPN. I really don't know how much better it can get for all things considered right now, right? We're going to continue to grow this thing, and it's going to get better and better and better every year. But with the way that the program is starting to peak and starting to climb the mountain, I think for any alumni or anybody out there, this is a really proud time to be a UC Davis Aggie. And man, I look forward to watching the game and seeing how far this thing goes. But beyond just this year, whatever happens this year, happens this year. The trajectory of the program is in such a good place. And I couldn't be prouder to be an Aggie. So let's go. Let's get the job done, and we'll see what's next in front of us.
Love it. Well, thanks for hopping on, man. I think we said it last year. We wanted to have you on every week after you came on in the playoffs, and we'll see how the run goes. I might hit you up again down the road, but have a good time kind of getting your feet back underneath you down there in Arizona. And man, if we keep making a run, we might see you at one of these games. But thanks again for your time.
We'll see. All right. Thanks, Brock.
All right, man.